Hey guys, just want to do a quick overview of this module on ecosystem basics. Most of you should remember this stuff from either earth science or biology, but we'll go ahead and get into it. Abiotic factors starting off here. One is sunlight, okay, and it affects most systems on Earth. It's mainly the main source of energy that comes through, and it's for what we're talking about here. It's the rate at which the carbon cycle enters the ecosystem via producers. And one of the bad things about it is it has an effect on drying out some things, such as some consumer species, or not consumer species, but autotrophic species. But we'll keep moving here. Salinity is another one of the abiotic factors, and you can read some of the details there. Temperature is one of the abiotic factors, and that affects a lot of things, such as metabolism, and specifically ectothermy or endothermy, whether or not an organism is warm-blooded or cold-blooded. And you can see several things here that we didn't cover in class, but I'll just let you read those for yourself. Pressure is another one of the abiotic factors, as well as limited nutrients and density. Okay, most of you should remember homeostasis, which is simply a balance between things. Not good, not bad, but we're right in the range where we want to be to support life. That would be the optimal range. And then there's the zones of stress and the zones of intolerance. You can see those here, zones of stress, zone of intolerance. And as you move out of this optimal range where you see most of the organisms have the ability to survive, moving down into here, you start to see less and less. Okay, some of the biotic factors in our ecosystem, one are plants, the others are animals. Okay, environment, habitat, community, populations. And you can read all of these. You should remember the definitions from these in biology. Okay, your niche should be remembered from biology, but simply put, it's the job that an organism has. It's its role in the environment. Okay, competition. There are two different types of competition, either intraspecific or interspecific. So intraspecific within a species and interspecific between two different species. There's also competitive exclusion and resource partitioning, and you can read these here. Symbiosis, and we'll play a little game in class where we'll talk about symbiosis. But there's three types of symbiosis. There's mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism. Mutualism, both organisms are benefited, so it's helpful for both. In commensalism, one organism is benefited while the other is unaffected. And parasitism, one organism is benefited while the other is harmed. Okay, predator-prey relationships we'll talk about in our lab. As with a keystone predator, it's the same for a keystone species. It's required to keep other species in check. A keystone species is simply a biotic indicator of how healthy the environment is. It's one that holds the entire microecosystem together. And there's some example of predator and prey. Okay, so there's also trophic levels that you should remember from, I believe we cover it in earth science and in biology, but that's just simply food chains and food webs. You have the food pyramid here, and this shows how biological magnification works, as well as the 10% of energy rule, how each level in the pyramid here loses about 90% of the energy as it transfers to the next trophic level here. Ecological succession is the introduction of new species after a disaster. You see primary succession that establishes primary producers such as like lichens, mosses, things like that. Secondary succession is usually followed by basic plant life. Okay, we can also click here on the website to find out a little bit more. And that's all that I have for today. Thanks, guys.